All right, let's jump right in. We're going to be looking at a chapter from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 5, which I'm sure many of you know really, really well. But what if I told you we're going to look at it in a completely different way? Not as a collection of stories, but as an architectural blueprint. That's right. Hiding just beneath the surface of these familiar accounts, the demoniac, the bleeding woman, the dying girl, there's an incredible hidden design, a kind of geometric structure just waiting to be seen. So let's get into it. So right off the bat, here's the big question we have to ask ourselves. Are we actually looking at three separate, disconnected miracles here? Or are we walking through three different rooms of one single, incredible, but deeply broken building? You see, this whole way of looking at it really challenges the typical reading. What we're going to explore is the idea that this entire chapter is one unified architectural statement. It's about a single house that is in desperate, desperate need of repair. Okay, so if it's a blueprint, there has to be a key, right? A kind of master number that unlocks the whole thing. And there is. It's the number 12. Now think about it. This number pops up twice, right? It defines the woman's 12 years of suffering and the girl's 12 years of life. But here's the twist. 12 isn't just a number of years. It's way more than that. It's a structural concept. It's literally the floor plan for the entire chapter. This is what we're calling the House of 12. So how do we get to the heart of this blueprint? Well, it all goes back to the number's Hebrew roots. You see, in Hebrew, the number 12 is made up of two letters, Yod and Bet. Now, Yod has a value of 10, and it represents the hand. Think of it as this little point of divine action. And Bet, that has a value of 2, represents the house, a container, a family, a home. So put them together, and the number 12 becomes this perfect symbolic equation, the hand of God entering the human house. This is the ideal. It's the original design. And honestly, the entire drama of Mark chapter 5 is all about fixing this broken equation. Now, any great restoration project, any architect will tell you, starts with a survey of the damage. You have to know what you're dealing with. And that's exactly where we're going next. We are going to walk through the three rooms of this house and diagnose precisely how the House of 12 has fallen apart. And you'll see there are three very distinct forms of architectural failure on display here. Okay, the first kind of brokenness we encounter, you could call it the shattered 12. This is the man possessed by Legion. And his house isn't just damaged, you guys, it has completely exploded. I want you to picture one of those beautiful Art Deco sunbursts. You know, a perfect symbol of order and light. Now imagine it just blown apart into a million jagged golden shards. That's him. There's no container, no structure, no walls left, just pure uncontained chaos. And I mean, this is the perfect picture of this man's state, isn't it? It is a complete and total structural failure. He lives among the tombs, a place of death, totally cut off from everyone. He's a house with absolutely no walls, no boundaries, a place where a legion of chaos has completely taken over. It's like a spiritual zombie land. It's a terrifying portrait of what happens when the very structure of a person's soul is just annihilated. So, we've seen the exploded house on the outside, on the border. Now the blueprint takes us inside the community. And here we find two more forms of decay. Now these are more subtle, but believe me, they are just as deadly. We have the woman suffering for 12 years and the young girl who's been alive for 12 years, see? Both are defined by that master number 12, but their problems are different. One structure is just slowly leaking life away. The other is completely sealed off, facing certain death. Let's talk about the bleeding woman. Her 12 is actually a broken 6 plus 6 structure. What does that mean? Well, the sixth letter in the Hebrew alphabet is Vav, and it means a hook or a connection. So she represents this double hook state. She's kind of two-hearted. She has one hook reaching out in faith towards God, but the other hook, it's snagged on fear, on hiding, on 12 long years of doctors and failed solutions. And this creates this terribly unstable system. It's like a beautiful fountain that's just constantly leaking, draining the very life it was designed to hold. Okay, now we arrive at the house of Jairus, the leader of the synagogue. His broken 12 is a totally different problem. It's a 4 plus 8 structure. The fourth Hebrew letter, Dalet, means door. The eighth, Chet, means fence. So what does that tell you? The whole religious system that Jairus is a part of had become a fenced house. They had built this fence of rules and traditions so high, thinking they were protecting what was inside, that they actually blocked the very door to God. And for them, death was the ultimate fence, right? The final boundary that even God couldn't cross. Their fortress had become a prison.
And inside that very fenced-off house, we find one last subtle little structural failure: the professional mourners. Now, their mindset is kind of a 3+9 problem. This one's a little more abstract, I know, but stick with me. In some traditions, these numbers can be linked to legal documents, specifically a get, which is a certificate of divorce. You see where I'm going? The mourners have, in their own minds, legally finalized the separation between this little girl and life itself. They've signed a mental divorce paper with hope, and all that loud wailing, that's just the formal announcement of their despair.
So let's recap. We have a shattered house, a leaking house, and a fenced-off house. The entire site is a total ruin. But now, the architect arrives. And his solution isn't going to be random. It's not messy. It is absolutely precise. It's almost mathematical. Jesus is about to perform a series of what you could call spiritual calculations to restore the entire blueprint to its original glory.
And this architect's plan for restoration, it's a really clear, methodical, two-step process. I mean, you see this in any real-world construction project, right? First, you got to clear the site. Get rid of all the debris, all the noise. You need a clean foundation to build on. And second, you have to establish the core principle that everything else is going to be built upon. For Jesus, these two steps are what we'll call the cut and the trust fall.
So step 1, the cut. Think of it as a 5+7 operation. The 7th Hebrew letter, Zayin, is a weapon, a tool for cutting. The 5th letter, He, is a window, an opening, a breath of fresh air. So before Jesus can do anything else, he has to cut. He cuts right through the chaos of the crowd to get to the woman. And he cuts through the noise and despair of the mourners by literally throwing them out of the house. It's this sharp, decisive action, like a golden line of perfect order slicing through the dark, murky waters of chaos, just to open a window so the miracle can get in.
Okay, so after the site is cleared by the cut, it's time to lay the foundation. Jesus gives Jairus one simple command: only believe. Now, this isn't just some nice, comforting phrase. It is a structural principle. You can even see it as an 11+1 equation. The 11th Hebrew letter, Kaf, means the palm of the hand. The very first letter, Aleph, is the silent letter that represents the unseen God. So only believe is really a command for the human palm, that's the 11, to let go of every other support and hold only the Aleph, that's the 1. It is a total reliance with absolutely no backup plan. It's a structural trust fall onto a single, invisible foundation.
All right, the site is clear, the foundation of trust has been laid, and now we arrive at the climax of this entire chapter, the Great Restoration. The architect is about to take that blueprint, the one stained with chaos and despair, and masterfully, beautifully rebuild the house exactly as it was meant to be, according to its original perfect design.
And you know what? It all comes down to this. One simple, incredibly profound action. After all the chaos, all the noise, the crowds, the fear, the wailing, there is this one moment of pure, quiet, focused restoration. The architect does the one thing this entire blueprint was designed for. The hand enters the house. And here it is, the beautiful final mass. This is that aha moment where absolutely everything clicks into place. All those broken pieces, the 6+6, the 4+8, they're just swept away. The shattered 12 is made whole again. The architect solves the entire problem with that original divine equation, 10 + 2 = 12. Let's just break that down one more time because it's so perfect. Jesus takes the little girl's hand, the yod, with a value of 10, the hand of God, enters the bet with a value of 2, the human house, and in that single moment of contact, the broken 12 is restored. The equation is perfectly balanced. The blueprint is fulfilled. The house isn't shattered anymore. It's not leaking. It's not fenced off. It is, finally, the restored house. And the proof? The girl gets up and walks.
And just like that, our architectural journey is complete. Think about where we started, with the total chaos of a broken sunburst, just shards of gold flying into the darkness. We moved to the instability of leaking pillars, and then the crushing weight of a sealed-off fortress. And where do we end? We end here, with perfect, beautiful symmetry. The ruin has been completely rebuilt into a pristine, ordered temple. The architect has restored his original design.
So here's the thing. The most important point is that this isn't just a clever way to read one chapter. Not at all. It's really an invitation to a whole new way of seeing. And it leaves us with a really powerful question, doesn't it? If this intricate, mathematical, beautiful blueprint is hiding right here in a story that we thought we knew inside and out, then what other hidden architecture is still out there, waiting to be seen? What other masterpieces are lying just beneath the surface,
waiting for us to find the key.